Okay, everybody, welcome in. We're not going to spend any time here waiting around for anybody to start. This is really just kind of an experiment, kind of for fun, just to play around with live streaming. Something I already do, which is flight simulator. I'm also not going to spend a whole bunch of time talking about the tech of this flight simulator because I don't think anybody cares, and I don't have a super elaborate setup here. Basically, I'm just using a PC, an HP PC, with an upgraded video card, one single 4K monitor here. It's running X-Plane 11. And I'm using the Airfoil Labs Cessna 172 airplane. Um, I played Flight Simulator for years and years and years since I was a kid, and but most of the times it was lugging giant jets around trying to pretend like I knew what I was doing. And I did play online for a long, long time with the VATSIM network. But recently, in the last year or so, discovered a service called PilotEdge. You can find them online at pilotedge.net. And what's been really cool about that is it's basically an online air traffic control service with a guaranteed 15 hours a day of service. And they have two different areas that they serve. One is just the Los Angeles terminal area. And then they have a Western U.S. package that also covers a much larger area of the Western United States. It's been great in that you can interact with real humans who can see you and issue instructions, and it's just great practice for communicating and doing that part of aviation. I should also mention, if you're checking out this stream right now, I'm recording this, but in a better way, where I'm recording just the screen output with all the audio, and I am going to post this video later to the Midlife Pilot page. Also, if you're watching here on YouTube, feel free to jump in the chat. I'm monitoring the chat here, and unlike a good pilot, we'll be paying attention to my chat during the flight so that we can talk about what's happening with the flight and whatever. So that's kind of the general setup that I've got here. I'm also going to be using my iPad over here like I would when I'm really flying with ForeFlight, which is also cool how it interacts with the flight simulator, and also has real-time traffic of other flights that are on the PilotEdge network, which is cool. You'll get to see that here as we get going. So tonight, kind of the plan is we're just going to do one flight. We're gonna originate here at Burbank, which is KBUR. If you want to follow along on ForeFlight or however you want to do it, we're going to request the Coliseum route, which is directly through LA's Class Bravo airspace, kind of to the southeast, as we're on our way down to John Wayne, Orange County Airport. The whole trip should take under an hour, but there's going to be a lot of interacting with air traffic control along the way, and a lot of different frequencies, which is kind of why I chose that route. So I'm just going to kind of sim this how I would normally do this, and feel free to chat if you want in the chat room, ask questions as we go along, and I'll kind of talk you through what I'm doing. So right now we're on the ground. We're at Millionaire, which is a FBO, a fixed base operator here at Burbank. So the first thing I would normally do in this case is start up the airplane, and we'll start getting stuff configured for that. So the first thing in this airplane I'm going to skip is this airplane has a fuel pump. We need to prime the engine, but I've already done that. I ran it a little bit ago so I could program my Garmin 430. I didn't figure anybody wanted to sit here and watch me fumble through that for an extended period of time. So I don't need to prime in this case. The engine's already primed. So we'll crack the throttle, make sure the beacon is on. We would yell if we were in a real airport to clear prop, and then we'll go ahead and start up here. See if she'll start. Needs a little more prime, I guess. It's been sitting too long, so let's go ahead and just prime it real quick. Alright, should probably do. Let's try again. There we go. We'll keep it 1,000 RPM and watch and make sure that both the oil pressure is in the green, and it is because it ran earlier. I figured it would be. So now we can turn on the avionics. I guess just to round out the little brief note about my setup here while the Garmin comes alive. Like I said, there's nothing elaborate about what I'm doing here. I still have to use
landing full stop.
I still have to use my mouse for controlling the radios. I don't have a radio stack panel or anything like that. Basically what I've got is I have rudder pedals on the floor that you can't see. I have a very basic yoke here with some controls on the yoke itself. I have a switch panel that gives me my starter and lights and a few other various things, landing gear, which doesn't apply on this plane. And then I have a throttle quadrant over here for throttle mixture and that kind of thing. Nothing elaborate. There's not a whole bunch going on here. It's not really why I use the simulator. I don't need all of the other things really, I don't think, to make this beneficial for me. Okay, so we'll just double check one more time on the Garmin up here and make sure that our flight plan is still in. It's abbreviated in the Garmin. We're going to leave Burbank Airport to the VNY VOR, and from there we're going to fly the 125-degree radio off of the VNY VOR. We need to be at, according to the Coliseum route, we have to be at 9,500 feet proceeding southbound before we enter the class Bravo. So we'll have to do probably a little circling to get to that altitude before we can enter there. From there we'll fly directly to Seal Island, and then the Victor 23 airway on to John Wayne Airport. So that's going to be the flight plan. So now that we're started up, let's go ahead and start looking at some frequencies. We need to get the weather here at Burbank, and I'm looking on my chart here on ForeFlight. It's 134.5. So we'll tune that in and listen to the weather.
Speed available. VFR departures, contact clearance delivery, advise on course heading,
hear it,
altitude,
but it will be in the video that we post.
Read back all runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information.
Actually,
India.
you can't hear this. It's India.
Burbank, Glendale, Pasadena Airport. ATIS information India. 0153 Zulu. Wind 170 at Niner. Visibility 10. Sky condition, clear. Temperature 28. Dew point 10. Altimeter 29905. Arriving and departing runways 815. Visual approaches in use. Land and hold short operations in effect for non-turbojet aircraft landing runway 15. 4,250 feet available. VFR departures, contact clearance delivery, advise on course heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information India.
Okay, we've got India. I just set the altimeter. I know the field elevation here from the chart is 778 feet. So I set that in my altimeter and then cross-check the Colesman window here, 29908, which matches what the ATIS said. So that's just kind of a confirmation that the altimeter is accurate. And so let's get some frequencies here. Because Burbank is a class Charlie airport, we have a bunch of frequencies to deal with. The first thing is going to be clearance delivery, and they are 118.0. So I'm going to dial that here on my COM2 radio. And I know the next people after that we'll talk to will be Burbank ground, and they're on 123.9. So I'll put them here in the standby of my COM2 radio, 123.9. So because we're in a class Charlie, even though we're VFR, we need to contact clearance delivery to get our VFR clearance out of here. So we're going to tell them what we want to do. That we're going to be we're look for flight following to John Wayne, 9,500 on the Coliseum route, and we have India. We got to tell them that and where we are, and they should issue us a clearance. And we'll write all this down and see what they have to say. So let's listen first before we just go barging in there.
Cessna 66 Romeo Sierra at hangar.
One other thing I should mention about PilotEdge before we get on here is that you're going to notice as we switch controllers from one controller position to another, you may notice that many of them are the same people one-to-one. They don't staff every position with different people. A lot of times one controller is working many frequencies on the network. So that'll be kind of interesting. You'll hear that as we get going here.
Cessna 6 Romeo Sierra runway 26, taxi via Foxtrot Alpha. Yes, for Alpha Bravo, traffic 1 o'clock, 3 miles, crossing right to left, altitude indicates 3,500.
Burbank clearance delivery, Skyhawk 3852 Lima.
Taxi to 6, runway 26, via runway 26, Foxtrot Alpha. Skyhawk 385 Lima, Burbank delivery, go ahead.
3852 Lima, we are a 172 slant Golf. We're looking for flight following to John Wayne at 9,500 via the Coliseum route. We have India.
Skyhawk 52 Lima, departure frequency 134.2, squawk 7471.
134.2 and 7171, 3852 Lima.
Did that connect?
Okay, so basically what just happened there was she issued us a squawk, a code, basically for us to put into our transponder.
Cessna 354-901, German Tower, squawk altitude, runway 20 right at Juliet, clear for takeoff, wind 220 at 5.
So she gave us a code to put in our transponder, which we did.
47 and clear for takeoff 20.
And from there, also she gave us a frequency for our clearance, for departure clearance.
South departure, coastal route.
So the next people we'll talk to, okay, stop. The next people we will talk to on our COM1 radio is going to be Burbank Tower 118.7, it's already in there. And then our clearance, our departure frequency was 134.2. So we'll go ahead and put that in standby so that's all loaded up and ready. And then we'll call ground. And we'll start our taxi over to the active runway. Trying to figure out what has happened to the internet here. Why this has bogged down so bad. Okay, so what we have is we're ready to contact ground.
19, clear for takeoff, wind 210 at 5.
Clear for takeoff runway 19 617 Alpha Whiskey.
Just 123.9er. Burbank ground, Skyhawk 3852 Lima's a Millionaire with India, ready to taxi VFR southbound.
TBM 259 Delta Sierra approach. TBM 9 Delta Sierra change to advisory, frequency approved. Report cancellation of IFR in the air, this frequency, or on the ground, frequency 122.2.
And we wait a second, because...
Cessna 491, contact circle departure.
Okay, circle departure, 491.
she's got a lot going on.
Tower Gulfstream number 313, number 20 left launch.
Let's see.
Gulfstream 312 November.
Winter 170, hopefully we'll get runway 15. Yeah, we'll get 15.
Cross 20 left at Lima. Clear takeoff 20.
And we can move a little bit here. We're in a non-controlled area currently of the field. And Burbank ground, Skyhawk 385 Lima Millionaire, ready to taxi with India.
Tower, you're stepped on for 13, number, say again.
Gulfstream 13 November traffic is a helicopter, left crosswind to downwind for runway 20 left.
13 November has traffic.
Skyhawk 35191, circle departure, radar contact. Turn right heading 330, climb and maintain 3000. Skyhawk 291, affirmative, climb and maintain 3000. Helicopter 1 Sierra Echo, runway 20 left, clear for the option.
Clear for the option, runway 20 left, that's vehicle stop for helicopter 1 Sierra Echo.
Burbank ground 385 Lima with India ready to taxi. Okay. $23.9er. $23.9er, comp 2.
November 45 Tango Cut 5 is a pass, taxi to parking via Alpha this frequency, have a good day.
Taxi via Alpha, and we'll move off frequency. Thank you. Cessna 984 Tango.
CDM 9 Alpha Sierra Club approach, IFA cancellation received, squawk VFI, report on the ground for the I-7 results. Gulfstream 13 number, contact circle departure.
Departure 13 November.
Burbank Tower, X-ray Alpha Charlie of Mike, solution runway 15 at Alpha, ready for departure.
X-ray Alpha Charlie of Mike, Burbank Tower, runway 15, clear for takeoff, wind 170 at 9.
Waiting our turn.
Clear takeoff, runway 15, X-ray Alpha Charlie of Mike.
Burbank ground 385 Lima.
November 385 Lima, Burbank ground.
We're a millionaire ready to taxi with India 385 Lima.
Number 5 Lima, runway 15, taxi via Bravo.
Runway 15 via Bravo 385 Lima. Phew, finally. Alright, so we're cleared to taxi here via Bravo. So we'll continue to monitor ground until we get to the short of the runway, and then we'll switch over to tower. This is Bravo.
November 35107 at ground, runway 16 right at Golf, taxi via Golf.
Taxi 1 straight via Golf, leave at 102.
We're going to go
Cessna 491, then right heading 015 and say approach request.
all the way to the end.
Cessna 491, Roger, correct sectors to final.
Turn some lights on there. There's the guy who we just heard talking, taking off.
Helicopter 1 Sierra Echo, have a taxi to parking via Alpha, monitor ground, have a good day.
Have a taxi to parking via Alpha, and we'll monitor ground. Helicopter 121 Sierra Echo, have a go.
Gulfstream 13 November, climb via seat, except maintain 8000.
Now when we get up here, we'll do our run up, check all of our instruments.
Cessna 66 from Sierra, holding shoal of runway 26, ready for left downwind departure, runway 26.
TDM 2 from Nando Sierra Circle approach, I-7 is a pass, have a good night.
So what's going on? Who all's in here? Say hi in the chat room so I can know who all's
Cessna
here.
66 from Sierra Camarillo Tower, left downwind departure approved, runway 26, clear for takeoff, wind 240 at 5.
Clear for takeoff, runway 26, 66 from Sierra.
Cessna 491, fly heading 015015.
Oh,
X-ray Alpha Charlie Alpha Mike, contact local departure.
don't play with your iPad while you're taxiing in real life.
Clear
Should do
departure,
it
X-ray Alpha Charlie of
simulator
Mike.
then.
Sierra 4 for Bravo, traffic 3 o'clock, 2 miles, southbound,
Fine, we'll
diverging,
just set
altitude
it all when we
indicates
get up there.
4500.
113.1 is the first VOR.
American 824, contact Los Angeles Central 124.62.
134.2. I said 113.1 will be the first VOR that we need to.
X-ray Alpha Charlie Alpha Mike, local departure, area contact, turn right heading 340, climb and maintain 14,000.
Taylor, cousin Tay.
Gulfstream 13 November, contact circle departure 127.4.
Would not necessarily have been one that I would have expected to be here, but I'm glad you are. It is, it's a little geeky, I have to admit,
Thanks.
but it has been extremely helpful in my training for sure.
Gulfstream 13 November, circle departure, climb VAC, accept maintain 15,000.
Right tower, number 35100, holding short, 1 right.
Right away, 20 Los Angeles Center, roger.
All right, so we,
Number 35100, Sierra Van Tower, roger. Taxi instructions for runway 16 right at Golf, via Golf, assure you at Delta. Runway 16 right at Delta, clear for takeoff, wind 130 at 9.
we know roughly we're going to fly a 270 degree heading
X-ray Alpha Charlie
after
Alpha Mike,
takeoff.
clear direct flap.
So our first leg is going to be like a west departure. Holy cow, it's forever away. How far away?
Cessna 491, turn right, heading 050.
All right, real quick when we get up here, we're going to do our run up all the way at the end. She said go all the way via Bravo.
Cessna
So
491,
that's
turn
all
right,
the way to the
heading
end.
050.
All the way to the end of the runway. And we'll just
X-ray Alpha Charlie Alpha Mike, clear
come over here
direct
and just kind
flap.
of stay out of the way in case anybody else is here. All right, real quick, I'm gonna flip around here so we can see. Set the parking brake, and real quick we'll do our checks. First, flight controls are free and correct. We will check our flight instruments, set the little airplane to the
Alpha
horizon.
Charlie Alpha Mike,
Altimeter is good.
I-5 in your remarks.
Match,
Do you want this flight to the I-5 rating?
match our DG to our compass. That does tend to drift, and it is way off right now. We set this to like a 030 heading to match our compass.
X Alpha Charlie Mike, roger, I-5. Contact Los Angeles Center 125.27.
And real quick here, we'll do an engine run up. So to do that, we go full rich on the mixture, get your feet on the brakes, and we throttle up to 1700 RPM. And we're going to check to make sure all the magnetos are working as they should. Here's the left.
November, contact Los Angeles
There's a
Center
little drop,
133.2.
about 50 to 75 RPM back to both. Right magneto, 50 to 75 RPM, it looks good as well, back to both. We don't have carb heat in this airplane. Quick idle check. We can verify flaps are up. Fuel selector is on both. Trim is set for takeoff. Mixture's full rich.
Alpha Charlie Alpha Mike, Los Angeles Center, climb VAC, accept maintain, flight level 230.
And at this point we can contact Tower and tell them we're ready to go at runway 15 for a west departure. Burbank Tower, Skyhawk 385 to Lima, holding
November
short.
35 from Sierra Sierra, circle departure at a contact, remain outside Los Angeles Bravo airspace until
They're
9.
busy tonight.
Report reaching 5,500.
And you can't always hear the other pilots responding, so that's a little bit of the challenge as well. Let's switch over here to Burbank Tower. Burbank Tower, Skyhawk 385 to Lima, short of runway 15, ready for departure VFR westbound.
Skyhawk 385 to Lima, Burbank Tower, runway 15, clear for takeoff, wind 170 at 9.
Clear for takeoff, runway 15, 385 to Lima. Now, in this class Charlie Field, she didn't give me any instructions after takeoff that I could turn on course or anything, so I'm gonna fly a runway heading and climb.
340 saying golf, request flight following.
Approaching is clear, I don't see any aircraft on approach.
Juliet.
Cessna 491, turn right, heading
I'm gonna use
170.
all the runway, even though it's a almost 7,000 foot runway here at Burbank. We'll turn over here and just make sure.
Gulfstream 313 November, Los Angeles Center, climb and maintain, flight level 320, say altitude leaving.
I see 15, 15, we're on runway, we're on the correct runway.
And
Heels to the
Gulfstream
floor,
1 high flight level
full throttle,
320,
right rudder. Engine instruments in the green.
Cessna 558 Fox, Los Angeles, Clearance delivery, you can
Airspeed's alive. There's 55 knots already. We'll rotate.
Yes, request flight following.
Stay in ground effect here for a
Cessna
minute.
558 Fox, cleared out of Los Angeles Bravo airspace. On departure, fly
And
heading
we'll climb out at
255,
about
maintain VFR at below 3000,
75 or 80 knots.
125.2, squawk 4163, hold the lead back for just a moment. Cessna 491 is 1 mile from Snake, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, clear ILS, runway 208 approach.
And we'll trim for this. I'm just watching to make sure we don't bust any Brava until she'll tell us to contact departure.
Copy, I have, can you say again, clearance? I'm sorry.
Cessna 53 Fox, standby. Cessna 52 Lima, radar contact, circle departure.
Departure 385 Lima, have a good day. SoCal departure Skyhawk 3852 Lima off of Burbank, climbing through 1500 Coliseum route southbound.
The Hawk 3852 Lima, circle departure, roger, remain outside Los Angeles Bravo airspace until advised. Reporting to reaching 9,500.
Alright, we'll stay outside of the Bravo and report when reaching 9,500, 3852 Lima. So she gave us some instructions there. I wish I could control this volume, but I really cannot. Her instructions to us were remain outside of the Los Angeles class Bravo airspace and report when reaching 9,500, which is the altitude that we're allowed to fly for that mini route. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fly some circles here, because if I continue southbound, I will run into the Bravo airspace for Los Angeles, which would be a bust. Marco, how many hours have you built in the sim since you started your PPL? You know, I don't haven't tracked them, but I probably spend 4 or 5 hours a week on flying simulator flights. The radio was always good for me. I didn't have radio problems on the radio from the time I started my PPL training, but I enjoy it. There's a lot of things I think you just gain from, if you take it seriously, if you treat it the right way, if you run your checklists, if you do the stuff you're supposed to do in the simulator, I think it's real helpful. Like right now, I'm going to turn my landing light off. And I will have to start leaning in the climb at some point, which I normally don't do, leaning the engine in the climb, because we're going to go all the way up to 9,500. So at this point, climbing through 3,000, when I get to the edge of the class Charlie up here of Burbank's airspace, I'm just going to start making 360s, like big looping circles, until I reach the altitude that I need to report. You're not going to be able to see this. Well, I'm not even going to show you. I'll put this in the recorded video, but I think what she's going to probably do for us is not make us go all the way back up to the Van Nuys VOR, which is way to the north. I think she's going to let us get to 9,500 and then go directly southbound into the LA class Bravo airspace, which will save us a bunch of time on this route. Alright, so we're climbing through 3,500 now. Everything looks good.
Limit traffic 1 o'clock, 3 miles westbound, diverging. Altitude indicates 2,500.
Traffic in sight, 52 Lima. So that was a traffic report. You can't probably see this on the video. Just off of our nose to the right, there's another airplane coming through. We're approaching the class Bravo now. So at this point, I'm going to give myself just a little bit of space, and I'm going to start a big sweeping, like really slow, like 10 or 15 degree bank right hand turn. Just to do some spirals while we build altitude. Because we definitely don't want to end up in the Los Angeles class Bravo airspace without approval. That's a big no-no. So we'll see if she says anything to us about our 360s. Again, I'm not a pro here. I'm not even a pilot yet, a licensed pilot. But I think this is the appropriate maneuver, even though we're still technically in her class Charlie until 4,800. Although we're almost above the Charlie now, so we'll be out of all controlled, well, out of all Charlie and Bravo airspace once we're climbing through 4,800 feet. So let's do some loops here. This will still save us a ton of time on this route southbound, being able to traverse the Bravo here for LA rather than having to come all the way back around. There's Burbank. See Burbank Airport right off the nose right now. It's where we left. Is that true? Yep, sure is. So we're literally going to hold this pitch attitude.
Sirius Alpha Bravo, contact German Tower 126.8.
Until we
German Tower 126.8, Sirius Alpha Bravo.
to 9 or 1,500 feet, which is a long way to go from here. We're at 5,300.
Sirius 9 Alpha Bravo, German Tower, runway 208, close to land, wind 220 at 5. Cessna 553 Fox, it's on ground, runway 25 left, taxi via Alpha, Foxtrot, advise when you have information due there.
Engine still looks good. Temperature, oil pressure, both in the green. About 600 to 700 feet per minute climb. You can look out our left window here.
American 320, German ground, clear to Las Vegas Airport. Since the departure, mice in transition, then it's filed. Climb the seat except maintain 5,000. Squawk 2045. American 320, since the departure is filed and the deck is correct.
We want to use as shallow of a bank as we can when doing these 360s so that we can use all of our lift, as much of our lift as we can from the wings to climb because we want to get
American 824 Roger, call at and maintain flight level 230 and advise them back.
to 9,500 as quickly as we can so that we can proceed on course through the Bravo airspace. So we'll just keep making these loops. Put in a little bit of back elevator trim to relieve some of this pressure that I'm holding back on the yoke. So we'll stay in this attitude a little bit more automatically. Alright, approaching 7,000 feet. Again, our instruction was to report when we've reached 9,500 feet, and then they'll let us proceed, I believe,
Cessna 491, taxi to parking via Bravo, this frequency, have a good night.
directly to intercept the Van Nuys VOR. Can't imagine she's going to make us fly all the way back up to Van Nuys and then interrupt there. We'll see. We're in California, by the way, flying around Burbank, California, because PilotEdge, the service that I use for this air traffic control, uses there's two plans available. One is the Western U.S., which is a very wide level area of the country, but in less granular detail when you drill down into the LA area. And then there's the Los Angeles area with a lot of detail. And I'm part of the Los Angeles area subscription. And so we've been talking to controllers since before we left. You'll hear some more of them coming up here real soon. So We're currently, if you're just checking it out, we're in a holding pattern. Basically, we have to stay outside of the Los Angeles Class Bravo airspace until we've reached 9,500 feet, and then we'll call Los Angeles approach back, and they will give us they'll give us an instruction once we've reached the appropriate altitude. Approaching 8,000 now, so we're almost there. All right, 8,300. Then I'm going to proceed. I'm going to proceed southbound once I roll out here, because I think by the time I get near the Bravo, I'll be at 9,500. So we'll just we'll roll out on the south heading here. South-ish heading. That way we can use all of our lift here for climb.
Cessna 5 to Lima, contact local approach 134.9.
134.9 or 385 to Lima. SoCal approach. Good evening, Skyhawk 385 to Lima with you out of 9,100 for 9,500. Coliseum route, southbound.
Skyhawk 385 to Lima, local approach, clear to Los Angeles Bravo airspace via the Coliseum route. Maintain 9,500 in the Bravo, Los Angeles altimeter 2995.
Cleared the Bravo airspace via the Coliseum route, maintain 9,500 and 2995, 385 to Lima.
CS Alpha Bravo, I-6 is a bus, cross runway 2 right at hotel.
Okay.
The parking via Alpha with frequency, have a good day.
So basically what happened just now was we were cleared into the Bravo airspace at 9,500 feet via the Coliseum route, which is a pre-published document basically that outlines a very specific path the VFR aircraft can fly at specific altitudes with absolute clearance from air traffic control through the Los Angeles Bravo airspace. And so right now what you're seeing is me cheating by relying just almost solely on my 4-flight magenta line. But once I get set up here for just a second into the Bravo and get trimmed up, I'm going to do some stuff here on my GPS. So I know that the next thing is going to be direct CO Island, so I'm going to come over here. Oh, stop. This thing's so hard to do with the mouse. I'm going to go direct CO Island, enter, and then I'm flying a 128 heading right now, which is exactly what I need to be on. So I'll set my heading bug here on my altimeter to right where I need to be. Then we'll get trimmed out. Then we'll lean the mixture on the engine. and we'll get everything
Cessna
set up.
553 Fox, Los Angeles Tower, runway 25 left, clear for takeoff.
Let's go ahead and get down
at 9.
to where we need to be. We're pretty much full throttle up here. We're at 9,500 feet, so in this airplane, I fuel plan based on, I think, 2,600 RPM, and that's about what we're going to get. We have a lot of leaning the mixture to do. That means less fuel to the engine because there's less air, less dense air.
Direct Huntington Pier, direct John Wayne.
So here's 2,600 RPM.
Direct, what was the first one?
And we're going to go ahead and start leaning the mixture here.
Direct Huntington Pier, that's the GPS waypoint, Victor Papa, Lima Hotel Papa, and then direct John Wayne Airport.
And I'm watching the EGT gauge here until it peaks. I keep pulling back on the mixture slowly, watching for that to peak.
And 63 will be due to pass the Cat 2, I'm estimating that.
It's going to be a long way out. There was the peak. Did you see it? So now I'm going to go I'm just going to go like...
November 63 will be due to request the Cat 2 on your first call.
Like 50 degrees rich of where it peaked, which is 2 little ticks. And that is how you lean the mixture. Alright, our destination ATIS, we need to go ahead and plug that into our COM 2, the weather at John Wayne Airport, so we can go ahead and pick that up.
Call runway assignment and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact you have information X-ray. John Wayne Airport, ATIS information X-ray, 0153 Zulu, wind 220 at 5, visibility 10, few clouds at 3,300, 10,000 scattered, 20,000 scattered, temperature 25, dew point 16, altimeter 29 or 9 or 4, arriving and departing runways 20 left, 20 right, visual approaches in use. VFR departures, contact clearance delivery, advise on course heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read the call runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact you have information X-ray.
X-ray. Let's see what they have to say.
John Wayne Airport, ATIS information X-ray, 0153 Zulu, wind 220 at 5, visibility 10. Few clouds at 3,300, 10,000 scattered, 20,000 scattered, temperature...
Alright, we have X-ray. We are not doing a great job of holding our altitude here. Okay. Let's get stabilized. And I have an autopilot in this simulated airplane, but I don't have an autopilot in the airplane that I fly. And so I don't use it. I don't use it here, generally speaking. All right, how far are we? Let's go direct. Island. We are now approximately 16 minutes from our destination. So I'm going to go ahead and tell approach that we have X-ray at John Wayne. And approach 3852 Lima, we have X-ray at John Wayne.
Number 5 to Lima, roger. November 630, runway 29, clear to land, wind 290 at 7.
SoCal departure, Cessna 535, Cessna 553 Foxtrot, with you level at 3,000.
Cessna 553 Foxtrot, local departure, with a contact. Turn left, heading 160.
Left 160, 53 Foxtrot.
So, so this visibility that we've currently found ourselves in, one could make the claim that this is problematic for VFR, because I can't see. I cannot currently maintain visual contact with the ground or with separation from other aircraft. So in the real world,
Alpha Charlie Mike, contact with exit approach 125.9.
this will be a problem. In the meantime, I'm going to take this opportunity to use this to practice my instrument scan, to just be paying attention inside the airplane to instruments.
This approach X Alpha Charlie Mike, Southwest 6000, descending 13,000.
X Alpha Charlie Mike, with exit approach altimeter 2988, verify descending via the Quebec 6 channel.
Just working on keeping
wings
level,
Quebec 6 level.
consistent altitude, making sure I don't see,
Charlie Mike advising, hello status information kilo.
you know,
Reflect
turns,
visual approach,
climbs,
runway 8
descents,
right.
just trying to keep wings level, attitude.
X Alpha Charlie Mike has information kilo, and we will expect visual approach 8 right.
And according to the published,
53 Foxtrot, contact local approach 134.9.
according to the published information on the Coliseum route,
Approach on 134.9, Cessna 53 Foxtrot.
which I'm flying right now, I have to maintain
November 63,
9,500 until clear of the Bravo airspace, which for me is going to be a long way away, almost to my destination.
SoCal approach Cessna 553 Foxtrot is with you, level at 3,000.
Cessna 553 Foxtrot, local approach, turn
So
left, heading
let me tell you
130.
one thing that I didn't plan here very well. Let me
Heading
put
130,
let me put
120, 120.
115.7
120, 53 Foxtrot.
in my second nav radio here, which is the Huntington Beach or the Seal Island VOR, and I'm supposed to fly the 120-degree radial after crossing Seal
Cessna
Island.
52 Lima, contact local approach 127.4.
127.4, 3852 Lima. Did you see that? How? SoCal approach, good evening. Skyhawk 3852 Lima with you, 9,500 on the Coliseum route.
Skyhawk 352 Lima, local approach, good evening. Long Beach altimeter 2994.
29er, 904, 52 Lima. I was pointing out that while messing around with my radio and stuff, I looked over and saw that my wings were about 10 degrees banked to the right.
X Alpha Charlie Mike, fly heading 040, descend and maintain 8,000, vector for approach.
And we're about 11 minutes from our destination.
Flight K040, descend maintain 8,000, expect vectors for visual approach, X Alpha Charlie Mike.
So I'm kind of curious what she's going to do with us.
Cessna 53 Foxtrot, leaving Los Angeles Bravo airspace, resume on navigation, cancel altitude restrictions.
Let's see here. They're using
Copy, resume on navigation, cancel altitude restriction.
20 left and right at our destination.
November 1, Sierra Sierra, contact John Wayne Tower, 126.8.
Over John Wayne Tower, 126.8, Sierra Sierra.
So I got to make sure when I cross the Seal Island VOR that I maintain the 120-degree radial. Actually, that'll be a 120 from. So I'm actually going to flip my VOR around so that 120 is at the bottom. I think that'll make it easier for me to center.
351 Sierra Sierra, John Wayne Tower, enter right downwind, runway 20 right, cruise to land with 220 at 5.
We'll see. We're almost to the Seal Island VOR. I should put in my DME here. Do I have a DME in this airplane? What is this Yeah.
Cessna 53 Foxtrot, contact local approach 128.1.
Approach on 28.1, 53 Foxtrot.
That's right, 6.2.
November 992, Whiskey German Germany. On departure, fly heading 230, maintain VFR at below 2400, departure frequency 128.1, squawk 2445.
Alright, we're trimmed. Engine looks good, plenty of fuel. We're currently on the appropriate heading.
November 92, Whiskey Quebec.
Everything looks good.
SoCal Road, Cessna 53 Foxtrot is with you 3,800, probably 7,500.
November 553 Foxtrot, local approach, German altimeter 2994.
Altimeter 2994, 53 Foxtrot.
American to repeat German ground, push north approved.
Yeah, we're gonna have a crazy descent. Because we're coming way high. Because we have to maintain 9,500 until we're clear of the Bravo.
X-ray Alpha Charlie Alpha Mike, reduce speed to 210, then descend and maintain 7,000.
Reduce speed 210 and descend maintain 7,000, X-ray Alpha Charlie Frank.
I'll be curious to see what she does to us here once we cross. That's a lot. Is that not Seal Island? I've been calling it that this whole time. Yeah, I'm sorry, Seal Beach. Seal Beach VOR, not Seal Island. Seal Island is a cool place we saw in San Francisco, maybe, when we were out there. But Seal Island? I don't know. Oh no, that was in the Azores Islands. That was in the Azores Islands. That's right. Yeah, this is questionable
X-ray Alpha Charlie Alpha Mike,
visibility.
turn left heading 360, descend and maintain 5,000.
We are 1 mile from
Turn left heading
Seal
360,
Island,
descend maintain
Seal
5,000,
Beach
X-ray Alpha
VOR.
Charlie Frank.
And then we've got to turn. We've got to turn to intercept the 120-degree radial.
Navajo 992 Whiskey German ground, good evening, runway 20 right at Juliet, taxi down
Which is going to be a left. You know, we can tell that from our VOR that we dialed up here. We need to fly to the needle. Now in this little cone of confusion here, it's going to be weird, but we're pretty much over the VOR right now.
X-ray Alpha Charlie Alpha Mike, Las Vegas Airport, 1 to 2 o'clock,
So
and
we're
10
going to make a
miles,
little bit of
2.5.
a left-hand turn, just a very, very...
Airport inside for X-ray Alpha Charlie Mike.
X-ray Alpha Charlie Alpha Mike, clear visual approach, runway 8 right, contact tower 119.9.
Very brief left, and I think we'll probably intercept it right here. Let's see.
Clear visual runway 8 right, for X-ray Alpha Charlie 5, contact tower on 119.9. Thank you.
Call on Camarillo Towers again.
Yeah, it's a little whacked right now, but this is correct. So if we wanted to fly the 120, I mean, I'm
Cessna 66 from Sierra Camarillo Tower, go ahead.
virtually on the 120-degree radial. Now, how? Let me ask. This is me learning, having
Cessna 6 from Sierra
a
position.
moment here. How would I actually verify that? Let's see here. Oh, it's getting dark. Would I dial? If I put the 120?
Cessna 6 from Sierra Jamaica, straight into runway 26, clear to land.
Let's actually try to intercept it, okay? We're gonna actually try to intercept this radial by going, by swinging left. And if I'm correct, which I don't know that I am,
X-ray Alpha Charlie Alpha Mike,
might
Las
be
Vegas Tower,
wrong. It might
runway 8
be
right,
to the
clear to
right.
land, wind 140 at 10, gust
I
15.
maybe should have put this up top, the 120 up top. let's see what happens here if we swing across it, if we end up crossing the radio here. Yep, it's coming in. Look at it. The needle is coming in. Okay, so we need to get over on the 120 degree radial and then follow it outbound. Okay, cool. That's pretty neat. So as you can't see my phone. We're going to follow this 120 degree radial all the way outbound, which is going to be right at, now we can start moving back to we can start turning left to get back to a 120 heading. That's what we need to fly according to keep our VOR lined up. And that's part of the instructions for this Coliseum route through the Los Angeles Bravo.
November 1, Sierra Sierra, cut.
Okay, that's cool.
Left to Navajo, left to right. Then taxi to parking via Bravo, monitor ground, have a good day.
And now we're drifting just a little bit to the right of it, so we'll turn back to the left. And that's probably far enough. We'll put our little heading bug here, keep us honest.
American 3210 right, taxi via Alpha Lima, hold short to 10 left.
And we got a long way to go before we're clear of the Bravo. Like we got, well, not that far, 5 miles. Don't go right. Stay on that 120 radio. Show them we know a little bit what we're doing. 9,000, we're about 30 feet over our assigned altitude. That's pretty good. This is IFR, or pretty daggone close. You know, and I'd say I treat simulation like it's real life, but in real life, this would be a big time problem for me.
Cessna 531 should be advised you in the violation of Los Angeles Bravo airspace. Once you leave the Bravo, you cannot enter back in without a new clearance. And the shelf where you at goes from 7,000 to 10,000 feet to inside that shelf. It's going to be a non-passing grade on the Cat 11.
Somebody just got shot down for being in violation of the of an airspace.
Navajo 99 Whiskey, German Tower, and 20 right at Kilo, clear for takeoff, wind 220 at 5.
I'm going to ask a question about this procedure because this is the great place to do it. SoCal approach, Skyhawk 385 to Lima. We got a procedure question for you.
That's what somebody say again.
It's Skyhawk 385 to Lima with a procedural question for you.
Skyhawk 5 to Lima, standby. Cessna 5, Fox, did you copy the Cat 11 status and do you have any questions? Alright, Skyhawk 5 to Lima, go ahead with the question.
So in the real world, in this scenario, if I was flying the Coliseum route at 9,500 and my destination here was John Wayne, which I'm now within like 4 miles of at 9,500, could I ask for a descent before now, or would I have to wait till I was clear of the Bravo to descend?
You would not like to be given a descent. Los Angeles arrivals go northbound to Seal Beach just at 7,000, so there's literally no room. The Coliseum route is designed to be level at 9,500 all the way. It's generally not a very good choice between Burbank and John Wayne. You would be looking for a lower transition, but you have to stay level all the way.
Okay, great. Thank you for that, Patlina.
Cessna 5 no problem. Leaving Los Angeles Bravo airspace now. Contact local approach 128.1.
128.1, 52 Lima.
Navajo 92 Whiskey. Radar contact local departure.
That's another reason that I really like, really like PilotEdge. Did you hear? I don't know if you caught what just happened there, but let me hold on a second.
Extra Alpha Charlie Alpha Mike, Roger. I-5 is a pass. Cross runway 8 left at Alpha 3. This frequency.
SoCal 3852 Lima's with you, 9,500. We've also found ourselves in IMC.
November 38 Lima School approach. Roger, John Wayne altimeter 2994. Are you IFR certified? And would you like an IFR column?
2994, I'm not IFR certified. I'm not.
November 5 Lima, Roger. On your present track, my minimum return altitude is 3,500 for another 20 miles. So if you want to start down a descent to 3,500 now.
Okay, we'll begin our descent now to 3,500, 52 Lima.
SoCal departure, Navajo 992 Whiskey, 2,300 restricted 2,400.
So, a lot of things just happened there.
Navajo 992 Whiskey, SoCal
Before I
departure,
changed frequencies
cancel altitude restriction.
and contacted
Zooming on nav.
on the next frequency, I
Cessna 60 from Sierra Camarillo ground.
asked a
parking,
clarification question
Have a good night.
about the route I was flying, the Coliseum route, which is one of the things that is really great about this network, is that you can ask those kind of questions. I'm going to start a more aggressive descent now, because I have absolutely no visibility right now, as you can see. And so, see, look at that. There's a 30-degree bank that I didn't even realize I was doing.
Next round for Charlie, Mike, next departing via Charlie, or looks like straight ahead, have a good night.
So I was able to ask the question, which was a procedural question about this route and if I would have been allowed to descend prior to leaving the Bravo airspace. So that's cool.
Cessna 5 Lima, advise when reaching VFR condition.
Yeah, we'll let you know when we break out here, 3852 Lima. Thank you.
Cessna 5
The next thing that happened was I told her after such frequencies that I found myself in IMC conditions, which is extremely dangerous for VFR pilots like myself, not instrument rated, with no reference to the horizon, only to my instruments. Again, this is a circumstance where in real life, this would have been handled a lot differently. In this case, she gave me a minimum vectoring altitude, meaning an altitude that is the lowest that she can vector to, and then told me that I could begin the descent. She's watching me on radar.
The Bravo airspace, 7,000 to 10,000 shells south of Seal Beach.
So I feel safe descending. I'm down through 8,000. She told me to let her know what conditions were VFR when I
could. Copy that. I didn't realize you were talking to me. All right, thank you. I'll terminate at this point.
When I can see the ground, which I sort of can. You know, I may claim this to be VFR. You know, it's just really hazy. I'm not sure that I can make out a lot. So anyway, in the real world, that would have been handled a lot differently. This would have been an emergency type situation in my status of my training. Approach 3852 Lima now, VFR breaking out. The bottoms are like 7,500 here.
Cessna 52 Lima, maintain VFR.
VFR 52 Lima. So she said we could maintain VFR, which is cool. So I'm going to go ahead and turn back towards John Wayne because I have maps. I can tell which, you know, where the field is that I need to be getting to. It's back around to my left. So I'm just going to turn back towards the destination.
Climate 1 3000 American 3210.
And then I'm going to let her know when we have the field in sight. I mean, you probably should check the weather there again. It may have changed. Say again for 52 Lima.
Verify John Wayne is your destination.
A-Farm, John Wayne as our destination, 52 Lima.
Roger, do you have the airport in sight?
Yes, sir, we do just now.
52 Lima, Roger, contact John Wayne Channel 119.9.
119.9, 52 Lima. So, new controller signed on. Gave us over to tower, and we are going to contact them now and let them know where we are, and we're descending through 6,000. And we are approximately, what, 3 miles southeast. John Wayne Tower, Skyhawk 385 to Lima with you, descending to 5,500, 3 miles southeast, inbound, full stop.
For 352 Lima, John Wayne Tower, make a right 360, then enter left downwind, runway 20 left.
Right hand 360, we'll enter a left downwind for runway 20 left, 3852 Lima. So he gave us an instruction just now to enter a right hand 360, which is a right hand, exactly what it sounds like, 360 degree turn. Standard rate, I mean, I'll just do a standard rate turn because it's good practice and that's what they may be expecting. With a pretty steep descent rate, because I know that John Wayne's field elevation is 56 feet, which means 1,056 feet is the pattern altitude. I'm at 4,500 feet, so I have a lot of altitude to lose here before I enter the downwind. So what I might actually do is just keep this turn coming, and maybe even slip a little bit through it, in an effort to lose altitude even faster without picking up a ton of airspeed. So we're dropping like a rock now. We're over 2,000 feet a minute descent here. And by the time we get back around to the field, we can still
52 Lima, runway 20 left, clear to land.
Cleared to land, runway 20 left, 3852 Lima. So we got our landing clearance. So
American 3210, climb and maintain 17,000. Contact LA Center 125.27.
let's make sure. Okay, let's get set up here. Mixture goes rich. Fuel selector is on both. We have lights set up correctly. There's no carb heat in this airplane. We'll get flaps and airspeed as required and desired as we get a little closer. So here's the field. I mean, we just did a slip procedure in that turn and dropped, 2,000 feet in hardly no time whatsoever. Normally we'd be a little further back entering our downwind, but I think we're going to just be allowed to be a little sloppy here. We'll pull the power back a little bit more, just a little bit faster. This is an ugly downwind. I'm even embarrassed to call this a downwind, but we will, because it's gotta be that. I'm gonna go ahead and put my heading bug over here on 20 so I can keep an eye on what I think the runway is. I should have listened to the winds a little bit more. A lot of things happened there. You guys got to see me about the extent of my workload. Right, there's the field. We're about even with the touchdown zone, so let's pull the power back. Let's go ahead and get our first notch of flaps in once we're under 85. There we go, first notch of flaps. Landing light is on. Power's about 1,700 RPM. Mixture is full
American
rich.
3210, affirmative. Contact Los Angeles Center 125.27.
And watching for the runway to get behind us. All right, let's go ahead and get the nose down. And let's start our base turn. We were cleared to land 20 left. Keep that nose down.
Number 7 Alpha Whiskey.
Not that far down. Keep it down though, so we can keep this descent coming in. Yeah, no. Not that far down still. Oh yeah.
9 Whiskey Romeo, you're transmitting on the Palm Springs tower frequency. You'll need to contact either LA or SoCal for that.
Let's level out here just a little. Add a little power. Get the nose back up. A lot of things happened there, folks. That was not my best approach, but we are coming in now. Let's get the power back down. Let's keep the descent coming. We are way outside 20 left. Trim, put a little up trim here. But I'd like to apply that pattern again. What really got us was the IMC that popped up right in, the clouds right up there, right as we got close to the property, airport property, killed us. All right, Let's focus on this approach. We still got time to nail a landing here. We're high. We're high. You can tell that by the 4 pappies here. So let's get our second notch of flaps in. Pull the power back. Let's start pitching for 65.
This that's because the aircraft you're in is bugged and won't allow you to change to that frequency. I really don't know what to tell you in this case. It's showing that you're changing to 125.26. I'm guessing you're flying the Zebo. It's just, there's a bug with whatever version of the aircraft you're using. You might try updating it. I don't know if it's been fixed, but I know I've experienced it
third notch
multiple
flaps. Let's see if we can get down a little bit and capture this glide slope. We're still high. A little slow. Let's pitch for that. Add a little power. There's approach speed. Add a little power now that we see the glide slope coming in. Add a little more power. And start pulling the power out. Nice and easy here. There's our flare. A little high on the flare. Yeah, that was brutal. Alright, and we're down at John Wayne. Fortunately, I know nothing about this airport. I think everything I want maybe is to our left. What do you think? Left or right? Where's the FBO? I don't even know. Should have figured that out before we got here. It's going to be to the right. He's going to kill us. Let's get on up here to a taxiway. Yeah, he's not going to be amused. You gotta read this sign. I don't even know where we are. Ooh, there's a hold short of 20 left, huh? We almost blew it just now.
American 3210 LA Center, climb and maintain flight level 350.
John Wayne Tower, Skylark 3852 Lima, clear of 20 left at hotel, going to the FBO.
Number 3852 Lima, taxi via Hotel and Bravo to the ramp, cross runway 20 right, remain on this frequency.
Okay, Hotel and Bravo to the ramp, cross 20 left, remain with you, 3852 Lima. Alright, so he gave us clearance to cross 20 left. We got to keep our eyes open here for how to exactly cross it and stay on hotel. I see the taxi line. Should look both ways still. It's hard to see out our left window. Oh, don't screw this up. Oh boy. Oh boy. We looked away and then we lost the taxiway. Did you see that? Oh boy. That's embarrassing. That's the thing about simulators at night. It is dang near impossible to tell. Now I'm just in the grass. So let's just pretend like he's not watching that. Hopefully the resolution isn't that good on his screen. Good Lord. Now we're stuck in the grass. It's classic. That was rookie. That was a rookie maneuver right there. Good grief. Alright, well, we made it to John Wayne without too much trouble, I guess. So we're going to taxi up here to the FBO and park, and then we'll shut down. So that was a flight on PilotEdge.
November 992 Whiskey, SoCal approach, squawk 5070.
If you are training to be a pilot, I recommend it greatly, especially if you struggle with procedures on the radios. It's tremendously helpful in terms of communication and talking to other real people. Does anybody have any questions? I don't know who all's here. There's five folks along right now.
617 Alpha Whiskey, Roger, for North Aguadoshe, outside
once we get parked here,
Joshua approach
I will leave the tower
on
and I can answer any questions. In fact, let's just go right over here and park by the FBO.
902 Whiskey, radar contact, maintain VFR, verify information, Juliet.
Go over here in this open area and just kind of whip around, park so we can face the runway. If anybody has any questions, you can fire them off in the YouTube chat now. I'm going to shut down the plane.
November 617 Alpha Whiskey, Joshua approach.
All right, parking brake is set. We'll leave the beacon on, but we'll turn off our taxi nav lights, turn off our avionics, and we will kill the mixture. And kill the master, and the plane is dead. All right, well, thanks for watching. That was something. If you want to see more of these, let me know. If you want to schedule some, we can fly together on the simulator for those of you who are on PilotEdge. If not, be sure to check it out, pilotedge.net. And yeah, thanks for watching. I appreciate it.